Hello, my name is John Schneider. When I was a kid, I used to visit my Grandma Vi in the Jersey Bayshore area, and I'd take 8mm movies of my family and their friends. In fact, I was the family filmmaker. Today I live here, but traded my film camera for video, and recently shot this tugboat in the Shrewsbury River. Welcome to Jersey Bayshore Country. Where is the Jersey Bayshore? Let's get oriented by starting with the big picture. It's somewhere in here, part of the universe, and definitely part of our world. But it's like no place I've ever experienced. And as soon as we land, I'll show you around. Welcome to Jersey Bayshore Country. I'm your host, John Schneider, and this is the historic Navesink Light Station. It was built in 1862, and it stands more than 260 feet above sea level. And while the two lighthouses no longer function as a legitimate guide for all the ships coming into Raritan Bay, they still guide tourists to the summit, where everybody enjoys one of the best views in the entire east coast of the United States. And that's Staten Island over there, across the Sandy Hook and Raritan Bays. It's beautiful, isn't it? And look, there's New York City and Sandy Hook. And just below us is the town of Highlands, New Jersey, which is one town of many towns typical of the Jersey Bayshore, with rich recorded histories dating back some 500 years. In fact, Giovanni da Verrazzano was an Italian explorer who became the first European to explore Raritan in 1524. And all of this land was basically wilderness, woods, swamps, and hills. After Verrazzano arrived, a number of other explorers also came to map this new world. In 1609, 85 years after Verrazzano explored the area, English explorer Henry Hudson sailed into Raritan Bay for the very first time. One of Hudson's crew members described this area like this: "This is a very good land to fall in with," he said, "and a pleasant land to see." And it still is. Every time I visit the Twin Lights and look out over Sandy Hook and Raritan Bays in the Atlantic Ocean, I can't help but think about what it must have been like for the early pioneers who came to America in search of something better. So I thought it would be interesting to recreate the experience here on the program, to go back in time and imagine what our ancestors first saw as their ship sailed toward America and into the Raritan Bay. What do you say we go back in time at the Jersey Bayshore? By 1614, the population of immigrants who came to live in the New World was a whopping 300 people. I'm talking about in all of America. And virtually no one lived here in the Jersey Bayshore except the Lenape Indians. So today, remember it's 1614, a group of Dutch traders are coming to Raritan Bay for the very first time to trade with the Lenape Indians. And here's what they probably saw. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. They haven't even set foot on this land yet. They're still at sea. waiting for some sign that the new world is just ahead. A bird, a seagull, another ship, perhaps. And they waited, and they sailed, and they thought they were headed in the right direction when suddenly they heard a seagull. And they knew that in just a matter of hours or minutes, they would see the new world, new possibilities for trade. They might all be rich as a result. And then, there it was. They sounded the ship's bell. Everybody rushed out to take a look at this new world, this new opportunity for all of them. They saw Sandy Hook. They saw the white sandy beaches. They saw the birds flying. Saw the blue sky and the white fluffy clouds, and they said, "My gosh, we've made it. We made it to the new world." It must have been an exciting time, sailing past the tip of Sandy Hook into Raritan Bay for the first time. Hills on the right, Staten Island. Hills on the left, the Highlands. And then they would drop anchor, and they would explore this new world for the first time. Fresh beaches untouched by human footprints. Clear springs and water. Forests and hills. They got out of their boat and they explored, of course. What a world this was. What a place. And then they decided to cross the beaches and cross the marshes and climb the hills. While we're still looking at images from 1614, 200 years later, Philip Freneau, the poet of the American Revolution, wrote of this area, wrote of this land, in a poem he called Never Sink. These hills, the pride of all the coast, to mighty distance seen, with aspect bold and rugged brow that shade the neighboring main, these heights for solitude designed, this rude resounding shore. These vales impervious to the wind, tall oaks that to the tempest bend, half-druid I adore. From distant lands 1,000 sails your hazy summits greet. You saw the angry Briton come, you saw him last retreat. With towering crest you first appear, the news of land to tell. To him that comes fresh joys impart, to him that goes a heavy heart, the lover's long farewell. 'Tis yours to see the sailor bold, a persevering mind, to see him rove in search of care, and leave true bliss behind. To see him spread his flowing sails, to trace a tiresome road, by wintry seas and tempests chased, to see him o'er the ocean haste, a comfortless abode. Your 1,000 springs of water blue, what luxury to sip, as from the mountain's breast they flow, to moisten Flora's lip. In vast retirements herd the deer, where forests round them rise, dark groves their tops, in Ather lost, and haunted still by Huddy's ghost, the trembling rustic flies. Proud heights, with pain so often seen, with joy beheld once more, on your firm base I take my stand, tenacious of the shore. Let those who pant for wealth or fame pursue the watery road. Soft sleep and ease, blessed days and nights, and health attend these favorite heights, retirement's blessed abode. Now, while the Dutch continued to trade and settle in this area for the next 50 years, the British eventually took control and called the area Portland. Almost immediately, Richard Hartshorn became one of the first British settlers by purchasing a large tract of land from the Lenapes and calling it Portland Point. So there were 3 villages in all that were established. The short-lived Portland Point, which was located near Highlands, Atlantic Highlands, and included Sandy Hook. Shrewsbury was the second village, which was south of the Navesink River. And the third village was Middletown, which was generally located between the 2 other villages in the middle, so to speak. And so the land and waterways were claimed for the purposes of planting crops, obtaining lumber for building homes and businesses, and of course, fishing. And the Jersey Bayshore began its journey into the future thanks to those who had the courage to cross the ocean and set foot on this new and sometimes dangerous land. as Americans and as immigrants and as people from all over the world, we all have that instinct to explore, to reach out, to find the new and the different. And I think we've landed. The Jersey Bayshore is that place. It's that place where our ancestors knew that this was home. And everybody that I talk to who comes here feels it. Welcome to the Jersey Bayshore. Your home at last. Well, for the next part of our program, I thought we'd jump back on that boat that brought some of our ancestors from the Netherlands to the Jersey Bayshore. It's actually a replica of a ship called the Onrust, which is Dutch for restless. It was a Dutch ship built by Adrian Block in 1614. In fact, the ship was the first decked vessel to be built entirely in America. And get this, the Lenape Indians actually helped to build the boat, which took about 3 months to build and ended up being about 40 feet long and weighed 16 tons. Incidentally, later, Block would actually trade with the Lenape tribes in this area and did so for quite a while. When the original Onrust was launched into upper New York Bay, it sailed through a very treacherous passage in the East River by New York City called Helgat, which means Hellgate. A little later, the Onrust became the first American-built vessel to sail into Long Island Sound. And so in his honor, Adrian Block was immortalized with a small island named, you guessed it, Block Island. On the basis of his original voyages, the Dutch laid claim to the territory of New Netherland, a territory that included Long Island, all of New York, Connecticut, Delaware, parts of Pennsylvania, and of course New Jersey. The last historical account of the Onrust describes an expedition in 1616 down the coast of New Jersey to explore the Delaware River, but nobody really knows the final disposition of the ship, and some historians believe it just may have been abandoned by the crew. So here is the Onrust today in the Shrewsbury River, about to set sail into Sandy Hook and Raritan Bays, just like the Onrust of 400 years ago. During the first part of our voyage, I'd like to share with you some significant dates at the bottom of the screen, such as the population of the country in a certain part of the century, or the population of New Jersey or Monmouth County, and other significant dates such as the Revolutionary War. So here we go. Let's sit back, let the volunteer crew do all the work, and let's enjoy the voyage of the Onrust. Since you like Philip Freneau, the poet of the American Revolution, here is a poem that he wrote in 1779, The Sea Voyage. From a gay island green and fair, with gentle blasts of southern air, across the deep we held our way, around our bark smooth water played. No envious clouds obscured the sky, serene came on the evening shade. Still farther to the north we drew, and Puerto Rico's mountains blue were just a cane on the eye, when from the main arose the sun. Before his ray the shadows fly, as we before the breezes run. Now northward of the tropic passed, the fickle skies grew black at last. The ruffian winds began to roar, the sea obeyed their tyrant force. And we, alas, too far from shore, must now forsake our destined course. The studding sails at last to hand, the venturous captain gave command, but scarcely to the task went they, when a vast billow o'er us broke, and tore the sheets and tacks away, nor could the boom sustain the stroke. Still vaster rose the angry main, the winds through every shroud complain, the topsails we could spread no more, though doubly reefed the furious blast, away the fluttering canvas bore, and vowed destruction to the mast. When now the northern storm was quelled, a calm ensued, but ocean swelled beyond the towering mountain's height, till from the south new winds arose. Our sails we spread at dead of night, and fair, though fierce, the tempest blows. When morning rose, the skies were clear, the gentle breezes warm and fair conveyed us o'er the watery road. A ship o'ertook us on the way, her 1,000 sails were spread abroad, and fluttered in the face of day. At length, through many a climate past, Caesarea hills we saw at last, and reached the land of lovely dames. My charming Celia there I found, to she my warmest friendship claims, the fairest maid that treads the ground. Well, wind was the fuel for the ships which propelled our ancestors to the New World, and it's also what helps or hinders birds who frequent the Jersey Bayshore. Here's a blustery day at the beach in August when the birds are struggling to fly headlong into a northerly breeze. See if you can tell whether it's a game for the birds or just a lot of hard work. Finally, I'm going to share with you some outtakes from part of the program you saw earlier, in which I found to be fascinating. Get ready to make a wish on the water stars of the Jersey Bayshore. Well, that's our program, and I sure hope you enjoyed it. As always, we'll share a brand new program next week and look forward to your ideas for future shows. I'm John Schneider. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.